As I'm sure by this point we've all seen the video that has been released of the Georgia election affairs. There have been many officials now trying to debunk these crazy claims, these conspiracy theories made by the alt-right, trying to justify what they're doing to the election, undermining the process. So I decided to go through some of these today, and boy oh boy are they great. Just wait till you see what the Democrats have to say about this one. Real quick before this video begins, it would mean the world to me if you smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a like or a comment, and maybe even share with some friends if you think I do a good job disseminating the important information the news won't tell you. And that'll be it for now. So here we have Fulton County Board of Elections addresses State Farm Arena video. And yes, they do. And the way that they address it, typical Democratic stuff. Regarding the events, so this is at 10:35 in the morning. Regarding the events at the State Farm Arena on election night, Gabriel Sterling in the Secretary of State's office has indicated a law enforcement investigation is being conducted. It's not clear what agency might be conducting that investigation or when it would have begun. That's kind of odd. I figured that they would at least give us some information about what's the investigation being conducted, but as a Democrat, you don't need to. There's no responsibility on your part. You can say whatever, and it's factual. So we have this tweet from David Schaefer. With a sweet smile, Gabriel Sterling has accepted Fulton County's explanation that the Republican monitors and the news media are to blame for believing the election officials, who told them that they were shutting down, packed up the voting equipment, and started cleaning. Yes, it is the people who believe the election officials' fault. Can you believe that mental gymnastic right there? Let that sink in. That's like telling someone, oh, the kid shouldn't have believed the pedophile within the van that there was candy in there. I mean, they should have known better, right? Having an election official tell you specifically that we're done counting for the night, as the people there sit on their hands and do absolutely nothing but clean up and let everything be done. You can clearly even see in the video that those in the yellow shirt, as they've been claimed, sit there and do nothing, while the news media and the election observers, we'll call them that even though they were roped off way behind as far as the eye can see, they stayed behind for a far longer time afterwards because they were confused, like, if you guys are shutting down, why are you still here? But they played the game right. The yellow shirts, they played it right. They just sat there and pretended to do nothing until they left. So it says here at 9:50 a.m., Fulton Elections Director Rick Barron says death threats have been sent to the supervisor who was at State Farm Arena on election night, as well as his mother. It's so funny now. Here, let's check this one out real quick. Georgia Secretary of State calls Trump supporters' threats against his family unpatriotic, says it's disheartening. On the same day. Wow, death threats all around from these unpatriotic Trumpists. How can they do this to us? It's almost as if a person of good conscience would at that point think, is what I'm doing actually the correct thing to do? Maybe I should do just a little more digging and investigation. I'm sorry, I don't know why these things keep auto-playing. Okay, well, pretend you didn't see that. It also says here at 9:20 a.m., here's what Fulton County Elections Director Rick Barron had to say about the surveillance video from State Farm Arena that has become a major point of contention among those who believe there was fraud in Georgia's election process. I'll just address the timeline of that evening. The staff at State Farm that evening, they began letting certain people go. No announcement was ever made to leave, for anyone to leave. Certain staff that were on the cutting stations, that were on the flattening stations, that were extracting from the inner envelopes, those staff left as work completed. Even though you can clearly see they've been referred to, the blonde braid lady walking to each individual station and specifically talking to these people. And even the affidavit signed by these people said, no, this is specifically what she said. She said that the counting has stopped for the night and that everyone can go home. And that's a signed affidavit. So let's see who's right, the person who has no accountability, the Democrat with no accountability at all, or these people who are willing to put their life on the line, jail time, if they are lying. I wonder who's correct here. He says, I found out sometime, I think a little after 10:30, that they were going to cease operations, and I told them not to do that. I stepped in. At about 11:15, they were fully scanning again, and once they were scanning Carter Jones, the state election board monitor, he told me 11:42 or 11:52 that he arrived. I don't believe that that was found anywhere within the tapes. Uncertain of that, but I do not believe that to be the case, and even then, you are still supposed to have observers present when you are doing these things. Because I bet this guy would be in on it, right? There were media in the room, external affairs representative there until approximately 11:15, which surprisingly correlates to the exact time that he said, hey, you guys can start scanning again. We need to get this done, right? We need to handle this election with dignity and honor. The Secretary of State's investigator arrived at 12:15, and they scanned until all the ballots they had available to scan were complete, and then cleaned up the room. What the video shows is that they have pulled out plastic bins from underneath the desks. Those are bins that they keep under the desks near the scanners. They will cut those seals that are on those, open those up, and pull the ballots out. They were still in the process of cleaning, so they hadn't sealed those ballot boxes up. What a coincidence, wow. So they were able to just start right back up. Normal processing that occurred there. Absolutely normal. There's nothing weird about that at all, right? But these Trumpists, they live in conspiracy fantasy land. What is wrong with them sending me threats? Oh, I'm sure Trump hasn't received nearly as many threats, right? The Nazi, fascist Trumpist. He hasn't received nearly as many threats as this guy, right? Other than that, we've gone through everything with the Secretary of State investigators on that video and the timeline that evening. Well, maybe you need to do a bit more digging than there. I'm sure that they extensively looked over this video, and I'm sure that that's exactly how they found a way to correlate these timestamps with their explanation for it. Let's call it that. Funny how they always have an explanation for this, and also we have something pretty interesting here. Check this out. So this is from Eric Trump on Twitter. Here we have just the normal election tabulations that are going around. As we can see, primarily Trump's bar is a decent bit ahead. Yeah, big Trump win. We can see those across the board. And then right around here, we see at 12:05 is this timestamp. And in the video shown, it's about 12:45 that this is all happening, these magic occurrences, while no observers are there. That's the observer area. No observers present. Whoa, a huge Biden spike, almost double that of anything else found in the entire graph. At around that magic time, that 11:15, well, 11:15 was when they started counting again, but this is the aftermath of that counting from 11:15 till whatever time they stopped. I can't remember exactly what time it was. Yeah, it looks around 1 o'clock. That's so weird that Biden gets 225,000 votes in that time, and Trump gets a bit less than half of that. I wonder if you were to calculate all of these, if you'd be able to determine how many votes Biden would actually need to win, and then just throw in a little extra on top just to be safe, right? I wonder if that's what happened. So here we have at 7:40 a.m. in another development, Governor Brian Kemp finally appeared on Laura Ingram's Fox News program last night and, for the first time, called for an audit of the signatures on absentee ballot envelopes. The president has pressed for such an audit, claiming that it would show scores of invalid ballots were submitted. There is, however, no way to tie the envelopes back to the votes they were cast with, and it's not clear what kind of remedy could be offered in the event of some number of bad envelopes were found. I have a pretty good remedy for that. The election is froze, and then they delegate their own electorals. It's great to see at least Brian Kemp comes around now after he realizes, the plan is foiled. It looks like people are starting to come around. We did not expect this evidence to come out. How did they find this? Yes, I'm on the right side here. This is crazy evidence I had no clue of. So here we have from Newsmax. Georgia's Kemp urges signature audit after smoking gun video emerges. Yes, now he's coming around. He's beginning to see the light, can't you tell? So it states, as a result of the video, Kemp called for a signature audit on Thursday during an interview on the Fox News show, The Ingram Angle. "I think it should be done," he said. "I think especially given what we saw today, it raises more questions." He also called it concerning. He's very concerned now. But he noted the power in the state to make the order rest with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. And let me tell you right now, he has more important things on his mind than to investigate things like this. This is just a small qualm to him, for there's something more powerful at stake. The Senate. Just wait. Georgia Secretary of State launches investigation into Florida attorney over voter registration. I love the fact that Brad Raffensperger has, this is like I showed in my previous segment where I exposed the rhinos in Georgia, specifically Brad Raffensperger, that he is launching all of these investigations into these different groups that are looking to interfere with the Senate runoff election, yet nothing with the presidency. He's so dead set on investigating things that would affect his constituents, but not the presidency at all. He'll just let that go. These videos that have surfaced mean nothing to him because he would rather keep his people in power. So what I find funniest about this specifically is that there are many Democratic candidates doing I wouldn't claim them to be unlawful, but they are far from human decency. You have billboards that Democrats are buying to put up saying, pretty much running on the statement of, don't vote in the Georgia Senate runoff, don't vote for Loeffler, or I forget the other guy's name, because they didn't fight for you, so you shouldn't fight for them. These are billboards paid for by the Democrats, specifically put up in Georgia to try and once more demoralize the Trump supporters from voting there, the Republicans from voting for Republicans. And I mean, there are probably, I think that the count was 8 of these billboards posted everywhere. You have different influencers on Twitter stating that they are a Republican and that we should fight back and not vote for our officials in the Senate runoffs. Just such underhanded things trying to undermine the election. It's so disgusting. Yet this Raffensperger's looking into the Republican who's making what I would claim is also a bad statement to make, but it makes no sense. He's so one-sided, it's clear as day. The Georgia Secretary of State announced Thursday afternoon that his office is investigating a Florida attorney who, he says, attempted to register to fraudulently vote. So crazy how he's finding all of these Republicans trying to fraudulently vote. Crazy. But that wouldn't happen in the president's election. Not even with a video releasing of them pulling ballots out from underneath tables and counting them while no one else is there. According to a news release, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says Bill Price was caught on tape stating his intent to register in Georgia and encouraging 2 million other people to move into Georgia before the January runoff to vote. And this is something that happens in tandem on the left side, even more so. This is the first person I have heard of a Republican stating something like this. But I hear cases made all day long. Who was it? Andrew Yang said the same thing. He said him and his family are moving out there, which he claims is just to help now, or to help get people to vote out there. But they all say the same thing. And it's an even greater amount of reach that they have than this guy's 2 million people. I don't even know Bill Price. I've never heard of his name. Raffensperger says only true Georgia residents can register to vote and cast a ballot in the state's election. Or if you're like one of the people that lives under a table who just cast their ballot right under there, I guess. Or if you were one of the many people that they surveyed, they actually went through the cemetery and asked people's graves, who would you like to vote for this election? Oh, Biden, wow, that's the 110th one today. What a surprise. Make no mistakes, he claims. Individuals who attempt to undermine the integrity of Georgia's elections will be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, unless, of course, you're caught on tape doing that, in which case that didn't happen, and I don't see anything here that's wrong. Those who move to Georgia just to vote in the Senate runoff with no intention of staying are committing a felony that is punishable with jail time and hefty fines, just like many of the people who've signed affidavits claiming election fraud. Many, many, many people who have done that. But those affidavits mean nothing. Might as well use them for fire fuel. They will be found. They will be investigated. Alright, what's playing now? Sorry. They will be found. They will be investigated. And they will be punished. Yes, Raffensperger's on the case. You know it, baby. He's there to fight for the people. Unless, of course, you support Trump. In which case, get the hell out of here. He doesn't want anything to do with you. So disgusting to see a true rhino, and I cannot wait for the day of his demise. And it's coming for you. It's coming for you all. I can see it clear as day, and so can many others. Many, many, many others. But that's going to be it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.